students. In these tough times, we as teachers are trying our best to provide you the best learning services. Now, as per we have done the particular chapter in your class, some of you could not actually attend those classes. So, for those particular purposes, I am preparing this particular video so as to depict few topics in queue, and they will be shown one after another in the subsequent videos. Now we will start with your first chapter in biology, that is the fundamental unit of life. Now in this particular topic, what are we going to discuss? We'll study about the history and discovery of cell, shape and size of cell, different type of organisms based upon number, that is unicellular and multicellular organisms. And also we'll try to put forward why the cell is called the structural and functional unit of life. Now to begin with the discovery of the cell. Cell was first time discovered by Robert Hooke. Try to remember the name of the scientist. Now year was 1665 and he observed it under a thin slice of cork. Now remember, cork is obtained from the bark of a tree with his own microscope. Remember, microscope was not discovered at that particular moment. Now, when he observed the cork under the microscope, he observed the cork as very small honeycomb-like structures where actually honeybees could live. Now, these honeycomb structures were referred to as cellulae, which in Latin means little room or compartments where the monks used to live. So, this is how cell came into existence. Now, to know about the history of the cell, you need to remember about the year, name of the scientist, and about his discovery. Now, as we start up with this particular part, first it's given about Robert Hooke, year 1665, as he discovered the cell. Secondly, it's about Antony von Leeuwenhoek, who observed the cells in living organism for the first time in the year 1674. Now, in the year 1831, Robert Brown discovered and named nucleus. In 1838 and 39, Schleiden and Schwann, they formulated the cell theory. Whereas in 1855, Rudolf Virchow just expanded the cell theory and put forward new points in it. Now, just to explain you the cell theory, remember, cell theory has got three main points. First, cell is the basic unit of life. 2, all living organisms are made up of cells. And 3, new cells arise from pre-existing cells. So remember, these 3 points will be important for you for the cell theory part. Now, as we come across different group of organisms, we study about unicellular and multicellular organisms. So remember, those organisms who are made up of only one cell, they are called unicellular organisms. Whereas those organisms who are made up of more than one cell, they are called multicellular organisms. Now, there is a small differentiation which I have put forward for you to differentiate between unicellular and multicellular ones. Now, if you just check out the points, unicellular organisms are made up of single cell, whereas multicellular organisms are made up of many cells. Now, the single cell is able to perform all the life processes in case of unicellular organism, whereas in case of a multicellular organisms, there are different cells for different activities. Now, in unicellular organisms, they actually cannot be divided into cells as they are called acellular organisms. But in multicellular organisms, there is a differentiation, like cells will aggregate to form tissues, tissues will be grouped together to form organs, organs will be grouped together to form organ system, and so on. Now, unicellular organisms, example, amoeba and paramecium, very commonly found unicellular organisms, and multicellular organisms will include plants, animals, and fungi. Now, as we know that cells are very tiny, that means very small. You cannot observe them with your naked eyes. So that is why you require some high resolution instruments to observe those particular cells. Now, these instruments are called microscope. Remember, microscopes are high resolution instruments which are used to observe very tiny cells. Now, there are different types of microscopes which are available in our day-to-day life that can be used for different purposes. Now, as we discuss about the cells are found in different shapes and sizes. So here, as you can just check out, there are different cells having different shapes. Some of them can change their shape also. Like the smallest cell is that of mycoplasma, or PPLO, full form pleuropneumonia-like organism. And the largest cell is an ostrich egg. Longest animal cell is a nerve cell. Now, as far as we discuss about why cell is considered to be as the basic unit of life, we know that cell is made up of a specific structure. Whatever the organism is going to have, the cell is responsible for that. A normal living organism is made up of cell, without which he cannot build up his individual body. On the other hand, whatever functions a living organism does, all the functions are carried out by that individual cell only. Hence, cell is known as a structural and functional unit of life. Thank you.